period week, and that means things slow down for me. I want to share with you how I practice self-care during this week. The method that I like to use for preparing for my period week is cycle syncing. So there are actually 4 phases of cycle syncing. There is the follicular phase, the luteal phase, the menstrual phase, and the ovulation phase. I'll put a chart right here. I try to work my business around these things to make sure that I'm getting the best out of myself. This particular video is just focused on the menstrual phase, really the week where we are just low in energy, maybe you don't want to do a lot, and if you're like me, you might have some very painful periods. One of the things that I tend to do either the first or the second day of my period is to try to avoid any type of caffeine. So instead, I like to make some chamomile tea. It's really calming and it just allows me to not feel any cramps from the caffeine. I've had caffeine during my period and I've just gotten more cramps because of it. So I try my best not to have coffee until probably the 3rd day of my period, since the 1st and 2nd are pretty tough for me. Some other things that I like to do to prepare for my period week as part of my self-care is to communicate with my support system. So I do tell my husband when I'm going to start my period, or I tell him when it's coming up, as I see the shift in my moods, as I see the shift in my energy. This just really helps him prepare for everything that comes with my period,
because I don't tend to be the nicest on my period.
I've gotten better, I think, as I've learned how to do these self-care practices. I've been nicer to myself, nicer to the people around me. I tend to have very low tolerance during my period. So communicating these things to my husband has been very helpful. And I do have a period tracker. I think it's called P Tracker. It allows me to predict when my next period is going to be. So this is how it helps me do my cycle syncing. I recommend that if you are someone who is trying to do cycle syncing, or you're trying to kind of prepare for your period, being able to track it and know when it's gonna come is so important. Another thing that I love to do when it comes to just preparing for this week is I try to do any big cleaning or upkeep of our home. That way I don't feel, you know, when you feel like really low in energy and there's like just like disaster and chaos around you, you don't feel as relaxed. And that's, at least for me, very true. I don't feel relaxed if I have chaos just going around everywhere. Just doing a simple cleanup. It doesn't have to be a deep clean. If you want a deep clean before your period, that's totally fine. It's actually probably the best time to do it the week before your period, because you're probably the most productive. Before I start my period, I typically do a Target run. I will get all of, like, if I need pads, or if I need tampons, or if I need anything essential to my period, like my snacks. I do have some of my favorite snacks, and let me show you some of my favorite snacks that I love on my period. So here's some of my favorite snacks for my period. If you have a Trader Joe's around you, I 100% recommend to get these dark chocolate caramel. Dark chocolate is actually really good on your period, so I really recommend for you to have some type of chocolate on your period. And then I love to have some movie popcorn. I really like these. These are from Trader Joe's. And then at Target, I typically get the Chile and Lime Quest chips. These are all my favorite snacks. Comment down below what your favorite snack is on your period. I would love to know. I recommend for you to just like pre-plan these snacks for yourself. Have them there so that you don't have to do any runs or anything like that. I remember when I didn't have a support system, where sometimes it was hard to crave things, and I know there's things like DoorDash and things like that, but save your coin and just buy it before. Another thing that I prioritize on my period is to wear like some baggy, comfortable clothes. I don't want to think about what I want to wear, but I also kind of want to look cute. I think also on my period, I tend to feel, like I said, the lowest, and my inner self critic is a little louder, so I just feel bloated and icky. Just wearing like a matching set makes me feel good on my period. Another tip is before I put my clothes on, I will put them in the dryer so that they can be nice and warm, and then I put them on. It's just one of those things that I personally just love to do on my period. This is a set that I got from Target, and if I can, I'll link it down below. Once I am in comfortable clothes, I love to rest and sleep. It is so important that we get enough rest during our period. Often our period may prevent us from sleeping really well, and so really taking those naps and just prioritizing some sleep is so important. Which brings me to the sponsor of this video, Brooklinen. I am so excited to open this with you guys. I love to sleep. I love to sleep, and I love to sleep comfortably. Brooklinen believes that everyone deserves simple home essentials without the luxury markup. It's crazy. Me and my husband were looking for bed sheets for months, and high quality bed sheets are really expensive, like typically around $500 and up there, and I just couldn't do it. What I love about Brooklinen is that they give you the quality and the comfort at an affordable price. I got the Luxe Hardcore bundle, and it came with the quart sheet set, which is a 1 flat sheet, 1 fitted sheet, 2 pillowcases, and then you also get extra pillowcases and a duvet cover. All of this just for a range of $200 to $250. It does fluctuate depending on the size of your bed. We have a queen, but you can also choose between the Luxe Hardcore bundle and the Classic bundle. And the best part is you have the ability to mix and match. They have 20+ colors and patterns, and you can do this from the comfort of your home. My husband loved to pick out the colors. We got the soft gray and I think the cream color for the pillowcases, and we just really love it. It's like a very soft gray. I keep touching them because these sheets are just so comfortable. We typically spend a third of our life in bed sheets, and as women, probably at our time of the month, we spend even more time in our bed sheets. And wouldn't you want that to be insanely comfortable as you just lay in your bed and just prioritize your time to sleep and rest? There are so many things in this world that take our attention, and typically sleep is the one thing that we neglect. I think for me, just investing in quality pieces is so important, especially when I know that I'm gonna get my money's worth as far as use and time, and even after every wash, it gets softer. This is literally hotel quality sheets that don't cost an arm and a leg. If you want to be as comfortable as I am, Brooklinen has provided my viewers a special discount of $20 off any order over $100. All you have to do is click the link in the description or use this code and you get your $20 off. Now, I am actually going to do some journaling right now because, especially on my period, it's a perfect time to reflect. It's a perfect time when I'm just feeling all my feelings, and it's just a time where I want to relax. So I am going to take advantage of these sheets and just do my journaling. I tend to feel the most during my period, and I typically don't schedule a therapy session during my period week, meaning my personal therapy session. I take that week off just because I feel so much, and often it could feel like irrational thoughts. So I don't want to spend a therapy session discussing that. Instead, I kind of want to journal about it during that week when I'm feeling them, and then next week when I have a therapy session, my own personal therapy session, I kind of share what thoughts came up during my period, what kind of stories was I telling myself on my period week. So I would encourage you to just reflect and just relax and allow yourself to really dive into what's important to you. This is a great time to figure out what is in your life that you want to prioritize. So a couple of journal prompts that I like are, what are my values and priorities in my day-to-day life? Really get yourself thinking, like, am I prioritizing the things that I want in life? And then over the last month, Have I lived within my values? What are your values? Maybe you don't know. Are there any things in my life that aren't serving me? How can I limit or remove these things to give me more time to do things that align with my values and priorities? So that is what I'm going to journal today. I'm gonna do the are there things in my life that aren't serving me? And I'm gonna just take some time to reflect. Depending on how bad my cramps are, I will typically lay in bed for the first 2 days, to be honest, and even work from bed. I know for some people, like, working from bed can feel like unproductive, but like I typically prioritize very easy tasks that I could just do in my computer. If I can, I will plan ahead and take the day off, especially on day 1 and day 2. Because I know that I'm gonna have really low energy. I know that I'm not gonna be able to show up in the best way. And I know for me as a business owner, I have that flexibility to be able to not work that day. But when I was working a 9 to 5, you best believe I would use my sick leave for those periods that were just so like draining and exhausting and painful that I just didn't want to do any work, and I used it. Thankfully, I was in a place where it was run by a woman, and she definitely understood that it was okay to just take some time off during that week. Now, it wasn't every month. I try not to do that every month, but I did take advantage of when I really needed it. So if you're someone who tries not to take off, especially if you have the time, I encourage you at least just one day during your period week to just really allow yourself to take some time to rest. I know a lot of us work from home. I would even say, even if you work from home, take the day off so that you don't feel like you are still on and connected to your work. Now, if you don't have a choice, but you can work from home, that is a choice for you to work from home on those days. One of the things that I like to do is I avoid tight deadlines during this week. So that means if there is a brand who wants me to do a sponsored video, or someone who wants me to be on their podcast, or I have to record a very like exhausting video, I tend to not book those things, or I tend to make sure that I communicate that those are my boundaries, where I will not be having any tight deadline during that week. So again, I have that flexibility. If you have that kind of flexibility working from home, just avoiding those tight deadlines, or if you know that something's coming up, can you work ahead of your schedule so that you are honoring that time on your period, not to feel so stressed out that you have these deadlines to catch up on. Another thing is something that I do, like last minute clients. So if I have a last minute client, I will try to reschedule them, especially because I know that I've probably already reached my max. And even on my period, sometimes I'll have like maybe just a telehealth day, meaning I'm not going into the office to see my clients in person, and that kind of helps me still be able to be present with my clients. Then I'll just see like 2 or 3 clients that day, so I'll also minimize the amount of people that I see, again, to protect my energy. Now what that means is I then shift another day of the month to see those clients, and that's okay. Sometimes I'm open to working outside of my usual hours if I have to accommodate someone because I had to reschedule because I wasn't feeling well. And that's just how I honor my time. Now, during this time, I know not to do, like I said, any intense things, anything that is going to make me stressed out or feel overwhelmed. I try to stick to 1 to 3 tasks that are quick and easy, but they're also going to move things for the next month. Like, I'm not just trying to do any 3 tasks. I really prioritize 3 important tasks that I could do on a low energy day. So think about yourself. What are some things, 3 important tasks that you can accomplish during that time that are easy for you to accomplish, that take into consideration your low mood or your low energy? I typically just do like admin things, or sometimes I'll do trainings on this week. Like I said, sometimes I do take time off, but it doesn't always look the same. Some days I do have to work, it just plans out that way, but I try my best to plan out this week as low stress as possible. Another thing that I do that has been so helpful is I delete my social media. I try my best not to get on TikTok or Instagram, and if I do get on those, I try to limit my time spent on the apps, because I know during that time I'm probably going to be comparing myself more often to people on the internet, and I probably end up feeling the shittiest during that week. And so I personally, to protect myself from comparison, I try not to do that. Mainly for me, it's Instagram. That's usually the one that I do delete on my period. TikTok is one of those things where I may delete it the first day and then I'll probably get on it later, because sometimes it's entertaining, and it just depends on your For You page too. And remember that you can control that and reset that and allow yourself to just see creators that you enjoy. I think that's also important, just analyzing who are you following on the internet, and during this week, if they are not people that you are going to make you feel good, then maybe it's okay to create that kind of space during that time. I don't answer any comments, DMs, or anything like that during my period week, because again, protecting myself. Just to keep it real, on my period, I'm literally always in bed. And my husband got me this for Christmas, and it is where you can just be lazy and read your Kindle books without having to hold it. And if you want to be extra lazy, I have these little things. So you put this clicker here, and you could basically just to flip through the pages as you're reading. I will be relaxing for the rest of the day, have some plans to get some pizza and watch Hocus Pocus 2, and I'll put some clips here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to prioritize sleep and rest, I highly recommend that you check out Brooklinen. As a reminder, they're offering 20% off any order over 100 using the link down below and my code. If you guys love this video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and you hit the thumbs up button. I can't wait to see you in my next video.